Cool. Hello, everyone. It looks like I was waiting for Andrea, but I just saw his message. So he's not going to be joining us. So yeah, I guess we can start without him. Hope everyone is doing well. Let me sign in and share my screen real quick. Bum, bum, bum. CD events, sig notes. All right. All right. Time to share my screen. All right, cool. You guys can see my screen, right? Yes? No? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay, cool, cool. All
Sorry.
right. Let me see here. Template September 23rd. It's now the 30th. All right, we'll take this, copy this over. It's over here. Take this. All right, cool. CST. All right, cool. So I don't have too many action items. Generally, I when I run these meetings, I typically go through the roadmap, just um to kind of make sure we're on the right path to a release. We need to start thinking about one sooner rather than later. Me and Andrea, as well as Jolander, have been talking a little bit about it. So I think we can probably start to get that process rolling soon. Um, so with that said, last time we looked at the roadmap, uh, we added a new label, which was a to be considered label in GitHub. So which I don't know if we can see. Oh, that's can you not see the labels? Let me see labels. Ah, perfect. All right. So yeah, so if you see here, we have something called to be considered. So these are kind of like the remaining action items for 0.5 um, is to figure out whether or not we should include these, I guess, these two items. So let's kind of go over them because I think these are very important topics. So these were originally started by Emil. I don't know if you guys are aware. Emil or Ericsson in general is they're shifting their business focuses. So Emil won't be able to participate as much as he says he doesn't want to like completely pull back, but he says in terms of the timeline right now, he won't be able to be a part of these meetings. So this is going to be left up to us to kind of dictate whether or not we want to include these for 0.5. So for this one in particular, for SCM events, it looks like they were thinking about, I guess, let me see here, the term proposal. Like, what is this? PR to rename the source code changed to source code change proposal. Oh, like a PR? I guess that's why. Okay, so yeah, so I see what they're saying. So basically, the name source code change kind of implies that it was already merged, I think. It's not referring to as the change merged event is not referred to as a proposal, or is that it's not being a proposal and becomes actual. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So I can see the little bit of the confusion here. So basically, with how CDEvents is structured, the source code changed actually means that it's ready to be reviewed. So I would argue that we just need to update our semantics and potentially add another predicate essentially. So if we go to the CD events, let's look at the SCM events real quick. So go here and then let's look at change. So we have created, review, merged. and updates. And then what are they saying? Source code change. Let's see what the files look like. CD repository change proposal reviewed. Okay, actually, I don't think we even need this because our structure is completely different. Because we already have created, reviewed, and merged. Because ours are backwards. Well, I really don't know. Let's see. Okay, so for change proposal events, let's see here. We use the term change proposal, represent one or more comments proposal that form the proposal. Okay, so created, reviewed. I don't understand. I feel like proposal is unnecessary. What are your guys' thoughts here? Does anyone have an opinion? Because like I really feel like it's just adding a word when it's kind of already implied, like a change created um, means it's being proposed, and a change reviewed means that proposal was reviewed. And then once it's merged, it's no longer a proposal at that point. So um, I feel like it's not needed. Would either of you agree, or should we just kind of leave it in the to be considered state?
I don't have an opinion one way or the other. I mean, you're eventually going to use those words that you merged it. So, I
Exactly.
mean, if we have it documented, then it's fine. So I don't see where I don't understand. There's no digital lift there, no heaviness. We're not taking up space with that
Oops.
statement.
Yeah, yeah.
So I
Yeah,
think it's
okay.
fine.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Yeah, all right. Seems like we're on the same page there. So I'm gonna update this. Um, there doesn't seem strong most to justify this change at this point. So yes, let's just talked about this in today's SIG, and we all agreed that it seemed to not too I guess well, I guess important's not really a good word. Important for our use case. So I'll go ahead and close this. All right, cool. So that's closed. That's good. So that removes that one. And then this one I think is really interesting. And I may even consider um uh basically okay, so right now we have this content like object inside of like subject. And what Emil was proposing is kind of splitting that out into kind of like flattening this. So subject would just be like the contents that is associated with the subject, but not having the data that's associated with the subject. So it's like the metadata for the subject. Then the predicate would actually be I think I have that right. Let me make sure. I think the predicate would be the data. Let me see. Event drawback, for
And the
example.
predicate represents the action taken.
Okay, and then where
So
does oh, maybe I have it backwards. Yeah, it looks like I have it backwards. Okay, predicate is the action that's taken, like the metadata or whatnot, and then it looks like the subject is the subject remains as the data. So yeah, I think this is a good approach. I don't know if it's necessary though. I feel like it might be too
we
much work. Oh yeah, sorry.
we yeah, we litigated this. I guess you weren't here the last time we litigated this, but the outcome was is that while Emil and I agreed it was better for the humans to be
Mhm.
able to read that, um, in general, it's a lot of work, and the robots don't care.
Exactly. Exactly.
Um,
I'm in the same page as you. And I feel like it's like it doesn't really give any value, to be honest. Like, because like, if it was like this, the subject data structure right now is very simple. If it was had 4-level deep nesting with like fanning out, fanning in, I would consider it. But since this data structure is already very simple, I'm not too worried about it. Being split out. So I don't think I think we should close this. I know he said It would clear up the documentation. Not really. I really disagree.
The documentation becomes easier because there's a clear, each section is clearly defined. The subject is the subject and it is noun specific. And then the predicate is the verb.
Yeah, but you could also argue that the content, like it literally, it's just moving that, right? Like, so you could just say
Yep.
the context section is just this, right? So I don't think it does like, I don't think it's that much of a leap in brain power to make the association that the content applies to the data that's inside or that refers to the subject. So I don't think it makes it that much like when we talk about, yeah, it makes it easier to read, but how much easier? I don't think it adds that much more in terms of readability. Like I don't think it changes like it drastically. Actually, you could even argue that maybe it's a little bit more difficult because it's split up. Like it might be a little bit harder to read in some circumstances. So I don't know. It really I feel like could go both ways, to be honest.
My reasoning is it's too much work and humans don't read JSON.
Yeah, that should honestly that should be the just the final closing statement, to be honest. I'm gonna say we also talked about this in today's SIG. While I agree it may improve some readability, I don't think it will be that tremendous of an improvement. The subject dot change nesting is only one level deep. The data structure for subject is quite simple. If the subject was much more complicated, I would tend to agree this improves readability. And with that said, it's important to note that machines do not care about the structure of the JSON. And given that it is still pretty readable. Okay, closing this. Let's see, I'll add Andrea and XP Smith.
I don't see it's just about readability of machine. Maybe one of the point is if we have a clear distinction between subject and predicate, when we create the SDK, it will also reflect clearly. Today, when I implemented for Rust, subject and predicates is a bunch. I'm not sure when I read the sample or the JSON schema if there are difference between each predicate for the same subject. So it's a couple structures, I could say. It's subject and predicates. It's one structures because content is a subfield, etc. With this clean separation, we could start to say, hey, we have the content.
Yeah, I understand, but what we're getting at though,
more reusable maybe stuff.
Yeah, I understand, but that it doesn't. Again, yeah, I understand that. Like when you take out, say, oh, it has nothing to do with readability. That's a stronger argument to not have it. And the reason why I say that is because, again, as Brett was saying, it's a machine. When you're generating the SDKs, whether it's subject.change or it's a separate thing, it's not hard to generate from that. Like it's not difficult. The only thing you're doing now is you're just moving it to you're putting that key that where you do the generation to a different separate field. So I don't think it's all that beneficial, to be honest. And to be frank, if we are in the future, actually, I personally think we're going to be replacing how we generate the SDKs and use an actual modeling language and not use JSON schema, something a little bit more powerful, to be honest. So if that's something we're planning in the future, then I think that point is also kind of mute as well. If that makes sense. So would you would you be okay like agreeing that, if it's not about readability and, if it's saying it,
Yes,
for the,
I agree with what you write.
okay.
And it's just an idea to keep in mind, as you mentioned, if we move to something else that multiple JSON schema to define all the bunch. Today it's a
Yeah.
galaxy of small definition where when we generate code, it's a lot of custom generator or stuff
Yeah. I've seen
to
that.
extract. So it's, yes, maybe when we will switch to a
Yeah.
single definition for everything,
Yes.
we will have more constraint. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I think, like I said, the future is like, instead of using JSON schema, like the plan would be to use something like protobuf or, proto schema or
Qlong or whatever.
exactly right. And I think that would be a much better implementation, as well as easeability of use for code generation for the SDKs, rather than relying on the schema, because the JSON schema is like, it's while yes, you can use it for code generation, I feel like it doesn't do a good enough job. There's not enough. It doesn't have the necessary I guess language, like language word keywords or whatnot. There's not enough semantics. It's not powerful enough to be a code generation for CDEvents, specifically for all the languages that we're wanting to support. If we were only supporting one language, like, let's say it was just Java, yeah, or JSON schema would be fine. But because we have Rust, we have Python, we have Java, Go, right, and potentially many others in the future, we need to move to something that is more flexible, that can pertain to all languages. So with that said, so here's my proposal, David. If we are okay with closing this, so once Andre gets back, we can see if we want to close this. Let's open up another issue to start investigating the proper modeling language for the SDKs. Would you be in favor of that?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And then what was the modeling language you mentioned? I mentioned proto schema and open API. What was the other one that you mentioned? I want to include it in the notes.
I mentioned Qlong, but I'm not sure it will be a good fit when I look at it. Why I look at Qlong is because with Qlong you can generate JSON, TOML, etc. with more definition, but all those meta language have some cons today. Qlong only have one implementation in Go, because it rely on using Qlong to generate scheme data or data model in other language, or in generating, by example, the JSON schema or Cube API or stuff like that.
Okay, awesome. Okay, cool. All right, so I'll include. I've never heard of that. Is it Q long like this?
No, CU. Like cute. CUE. Sorry.
CUE.
LANG.
Qlang. Okay, cool. All right, and then proto schema. And then also let's do open API. And then okay, so I want to create a GitHub issue for this because since we're looking for more maintainers, we need a language that is powerful and flexible enough to make our lives easier, because like we don't want people coming in as maintainers then look at all the crazy code generation that we have, all the custom code we have just to support CDEvents like that. I think that's going to scare too many people. So yeah, okay, cool. So
yes, Open API is mainly JSON schema plus more stuff. But one of the biggest issue when I try to implement is why I'm not able to use a JSON schema translator. It's because we have multiple schema. Instead of having one JSON schema, using in a JSON schema, we have something named discriminator, where you can use to create composition or derivation.
Right. Wait, so am I understanding you have concerns about Open API, or it sounds like you have concerns about it?
No, it's Open API. It's really for HTTP only. and it's based on JSON API. It's a layer on top of JSON
Right,
on JSON schema. Sorry.
Yeah, but that it should be fine. But because OpenAPI is pretty. It's I thought OpenAPI was built on Swagger. Is Swagger built on JSON schema?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. Okay. Okay. So
OpenAPI doesn't make sense unless we're writing a server.
Gotcha.
It's not for a spec.
This is more server based. Gotcha. Okay.
It's HTTP only. It's not async. It's not like this.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
so it doesn't even really. I did not know that. Okay. That's a good call out. Let me actually make some more notes here.
OpenAPI is excellent for generating clients for servers. That's what it's best at. But it doesn't fit our use case.
May not be. Yeah. Okay. Good to know. Okay. So that sounds like it's probably not going to be an appropriate modeling language. Okay. But I want to include it because I want to have the discussion. So thank you for that input. That's very valuable. I will go ahead and create a GitHub issue. I will tag both of you on that. So if you guys have any other modeling language that you have had a lot of success with, please add it, because every modeling language that I've ever used always has some problem with it. The only one that I've actually been happy with is proto schema, but I think it might work for us, but we'll see. Because I know some people don't like proto. So, but I'll be curious to get more people's inputs on this. Okay, cool. This is really useful. All right. All right. So that sounds good. So I will go ahead. I'll create a separate issue for that. Because this definitely needs to be addressed sooner rather than later. Okay, cool. So one thing that I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start implementing some of this. I said I was going to do this like 2 weeks ago, but I think the plan is like every Friday I'm going to like knock out or try to knock out at least one of these if it's small. And then, if we can start getting some help, from the community and as well, like I think that will definitely speed up some things as well. But the biggest one I think that we need to work on is the consistency, because that's going to be the breaking change ones. Because in 0.5, the goal is to make 0.5 the biggest breaking change one. So that way, going forward, things will be a little bit more stable, or will be a lot more stable. People don't have to worry about things changing as often, unless something is really wrong and where we need to add or completely change how an event works. So that's kind of the goal there. Okay, cool. That's good to know. All right. So that's good. All right. Let me add another thing I want to talk about here. Cloud events, security, I'll call it verifiability. So like I've been working quite a long time on this, is cloud events verifiability. So this is to ensure that CDEvents can be verified, like, so when you're consuming any sort of event, that you're getting it from a trusted source. So the goal here is to have this done by the end of the year. We made it the date very long because we just didn't know how long it was going to take us, and it turned out like all the research that we needed to do for like security, getting the security folks involved has been a lot more work than originally was estimated. But the goal is the end of the year. We're going to get the cloud events verifiability proposal out. And then this should make our lives, well, it'll make my life easier in terms of, well, make Apple lives easier. And hopefully as well, your guys' lives easier to be able to verify these verify events that are coming in. One thing I want to call out is we are looking at using the DSSE signature and envelope spec. So I want to call this out just in case you guys are not familiar, because I had no idea that this was like the new initiative within security. So it's called Dead Simple Signing Envelope. So I'm going to put the link in here. So if you guys are curious to take a look, you guys can go ahead. But this is like the new hotness in terms of security is something that's just simple and allows for signing. So we're looking at using this, and the reason why is some of the ideas that were proposed from CloudEvents is it makes backwards compatibility a lot more difficult due to the flexible nature of some of the signing proposals and algorithms. So yeah, so that's kind of the reasoning there. So I just wanted to be transparent that this is coming to the end of the year. This is what we're looking at using. And please let me know if you guys, from your companies have any concerns with this this signature spec. And we can always bring that into our conversations next time we meet with the security folks. But the security folks actually recommended this. So yeah. And then that's pretty much it that I had from my end. There hasn't been too much. Oh, we're still looking for Java SDK maintainers on the topic of SDK. So we still need SDK, Java SDK maintainer still needed. So we still need one. So if you know of anyone that's interested, see people that want to contribute, please let us know. We are definitely looking for one. And then I am doing my best to get through legal. I mean, that's been a battle in itself to try to get or to be able to be allowed to contribute code, but it's been taking a little bit longer than I ever thought it would take, to be honest. It's actually quite long and it's been I think 2 years now, which is quite ridiculous in my opinion, but yeah, 2 years and I still can't contribute code, so hopefully soon, but we'll see. But yeah, so was there anything on your guys' end or on your end, David, that you were curious about, or if you had any issues with SDKs, you want to talk about anything?
No, just a question about the SSE. I'm not
Sure.
aware of it. How one of the question regarding implementation is when we create translator or other systems that will generate events, as we are not the real source of the cause of the event, maybe because we are watching an external system or something else, how this signature should be transferred or converted?
I see what you're saying. So like basically kind of like a similar to a proxy or something of that nature.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So I'm not too sure. We're actually working on all those type of use cases. That is a use case is proxies. So it depends what the proxy is doing. So if the proxy is modifying anything or changing anything inside of the payload or wrapping in anything, it would need to rewrap the envelope or regenerate the signature. So it would need to do verifying to make sure that this event that's coming in is legit. But then if it makes any changes, then it would need to also generate the signature and then pass it along. That's my first guess. But if it doesn't change anything, then all it needs to do is verify and then pass it along. But like I said, that is still being worked on in the proposal. We have a bunch of use cases. We want to make sure that we satisfy everyone's need. But that's a very common use case that will definitely be answered in the proposal. Luckily, it shouldn't be difficult. Is the goal? Like it should be pretty straightforward and very simple for proxying layers.
Yes, I think more about translator, the use case of translator, because today we have few implementation of CDEvents, so we have to create translator for GitHub, Jira, whatever.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. In that case, yeah, a new signature would need to be generated for that particular one, which is fine because, like I said, it should be done by the SDKs automatically. And we'll definitely include, how people can do that, et cetera. And hopefully make that easier. So yeah, but definitely it's going to be a question more so as we approach towards when we start writing more of the proposal. Right now we're at the very simple use cases, just like verifying, but yeah, proxying is definitely on there. I'll keep in touch with you, David, and let you know what that's going to look like as we start fleshing that section of the proposal out some more. And like I said, like once I'm able to get this out to open source, I might share it with us first internally, like internally being CDEvents, just to make sure it fits our use cases. And so if there is any concerns, then we can go ahead and address them before passing it along and submitting it to Cloud Events. Would that work for you, David?
Yes, yes. On my side, I will look at how it's named, JWT, JSON Web Token, because they also have mechanisms about translating
Yes.
signature,
So,
etc. Okay.
unfortunately, JWT was denied by Cloud Events. So they don't want JWT at all. And the reason for that is because Cloud Events supports things other than JSON, and JWT is strictly JSON based. That's the issue there. So they told us that any signature that we choose needs to be able to support all like 14 protocols that Cloud Events can support. So yeah, that's kind of the bigger issue. However, with that being said, I think it's important that we make it as flexible as possible as well. You know, with being able to choose potentially signature algorithms, but we'll see. We might have to stick with DSSE just for the sheer simplicity of it. Because, and the reason for that is if some tool chooses JWT as their signing algorithm and another tool chooses DSSE as their signing algorithm, it's going to be very hard for these systems to communicate without something in the middle. So I think we need to be strict and say there's only one signing algorithm, and it's like DSSE, for example, and you know, and with Cloud Events just flat out denying JWT, that's not an option that they're willing to take. So just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah, I don't talk about JWT for signing because it's not the purpose of JWT. It's because inside JWT there is a signing mechanisms. So to look at maybe how we can use the same mechanisms.
Sorry, I completely misunderstood what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Okay. Look at JWT for inspiration on how to sign, proxying and translating layers. Okay,
yes.
Sorry, I completely misunderstood you.
No, I'm not very good in English. Sorry.
No worries. No, it's my bad because so this is my fault. Like what I typically do is like when I think I understand you, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes total sense. I start like thinking like how to answer, but I needed to wait because I think you were getting at this point. Okay, so I'll be better with that. But yeah, this is definitely a good call out. I will look for this, and I might have questions, David. So I might ping you if if I have any questions. It seems like you're a little bit familiar with this, and seeing if I have the right thing that you're talking about, essentially. But cool,
yes.
that's really helpful.
Yes, you can ping me. I'm not always on Slack, but yes.
Okay, yeah. Like I said, it's no rush. So whenever you get it, just answer, if you know, and I'll also research it as I ask the question. So, worst case, I might find it, but if I don't, then maybe having you provide the answer might be a good outcome as well. So, cool. All right. So that's pretty much what's that.
Yes, just to tell you, during October, I will take 10 days just to work on CDEvents and my CDEvents based project.
Oh, awesome. Okay, that is good to hear. Out of curiosity, what are you thinking to work on? Like, what are you looking as your point of interest?
I'm trying to do. Today, I look at what existing. I work on a project named CDEvents.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah. Okay.
And I will try to restart it, create the demo, the POC, and etc.
All right, awesome. Super excited. Okay, cool. And I think you've shared the code before.
Yes.
But I don't think you've ever have you demoed? I don't think you've demoed it for us.
No. Just the purpose of this time off with my company will be to start working on a demo and everything.
Oh, awesome. And yeah, please demo it for us. We'd be curious to see like what you come up with. I think that'll be really well, so what is the goal of the tool? Like what is it? Is it just like an abstraction layer on top of CDEvents? Like what is it?
The goal is for me to earn money
okay.
at some point.
Yeah.
Yes. No, the goal, my first target is very similar to some of what was shown last year on some meetings I look at, is to provide a visualization about what is released, what was the release
Oh,
flow, where it
awesome,
is,
awesome.
which version, and to be able to back in history.
Okay, that will be super useful. Okay, cool. I will be very excited to see this demo. Okay, cool. Yeah, please keep us up to date because I think that'll be very, very valuable, even for us, to use as a potential tool. So yeah, please keep us updated. And then yeah, I think in terms of this meeting, that's all I had. So if you don't have any questions, David, we can go ahead and close it up. For you.
No, because I will have time. I saw on the V5 roadmap, I have some pull requests to rebase, so I will work on it in the
Okay, awesome.
coming
Yeah,
days.
and then please ping us once it's updated, and I will go ahead and review them.
Okay,
Cool, awesome. Well, thanks again, David. It's always good seeing you.
thanks.
All right, bye.
Bye.